Question of the day: what is your favorite translation of a career into a game? Now, maybe it's your career. For instance, what is your career that you've seen translate into a game really well, for instance? For me, this has always been something I've wanted to see happen, and finally I got a chance to review this. I've had it for a long time, and I've played it a good while back, and I really enjoy it. But obviously, people always ask, Brian, when are you going to review this game? Because, I mean, if you know anything about me, you know for the last 10 years, my wife Carla and I, we've been professional stage magicians, illusionists, mentalists, whatever you want to call it, all over the country, across the world, right? We're on the road 150 to 180 days a year doing this. Now, you say, Brian, you don't look very much like a magician right now or an illusionist right now. That's because I'm in incognito mode, and it's late at night, and Bama plays tomorrow, and we might get a Heisman and a national championship. Too early, I know, but still. What am I talking about? Well, I'm obviously talking about Trickerion, a game about stage magicians, stage illusionists, and not in the sense of what they do in Hollywood, where they, with the exception of the Prestige and the Illusionist, where when someone's a magician, well, suddenly they have magical powers, a la Mandrake the Magician here. No, we're not talking about Mandrake the Magician style. We're talking about Darren Brown, David Bergelas. Those are deep cut names. Look them up. You'll find some fantastic stuff. We're talking about that kind of career. So I wanted to just show you up front before we get into this review, just in case, because some of you are wondering, Brian, what do you do exactly? Well, here's some clips of the show, some fun stuff we like to do as a stage illusionist. Again, this one's a little bit more unorthodox because I'm excited to talk about this today because this is what we do, and it's fun. So here's some stuff from the show, what we do. We'll dive into what Trickerion is, how it plays, and we'll come up, talk about all things Trickerion right now.
Every time you snap, your card's going to come to the top of the deck, okay? Sound good? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Your card's right there on top. Now that's great. Let's take it one more step further. Here, let's get rid of some cards. Your card is the 10 of spades, right? Do not forget that. We're going to stick it in here, and we're going to use the bottom half of the deck. Hold the top half of the deck over there for me just for a minute. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. There's no denying that was in the middle, right?
Right.
Here we go. Okay, wait a minute. What's happening here? I know what's happening. Wait a minute. This is the bottom half of the deck, right? And it always goes to the top of the deck. That's what we're talking about right there. And stuck. Just. I agree. Pardon us, you're tall. One ball left, one bag left. Reach in and show him. Quick.
First of all, let's talk things that come in the box. One of the things I absolutely love is this Trickerion Magician Workbook. Not only is it a player reference for, turn order, what you do in your turn, how to score for the base game and the dark alley, but also it's got a list of every single trick, all the different types of tricks, for the different types, mentalism, all this sort of stuff, escapism, and it's got them all listed out, how much they cost, what they cost, and everything like that. Obviously, a little nod to the to the Prestige right there. Love that. Let's go through for just a second. I'll point out some of these. Again, I'm going to take some time on this review just because it's what it is, right? So you have the linking rings. You've got the Chinese sticks. I know linking rings, obviously classic. Levitation, that is based on Keller and Thurston's levitation. Look up Harry Keller's levitation. That's what that's based on, the picture. Vanishing bird cage, bullet catch. A guy named Chung Ling Soo was killed doing a bullet catch back in the 1800s. Fantastic. Automaton. This is Jean Robert Houdin created those. All this is mentalism here, so mind reading, spirit hand, window to the other world, floating table. I do this in my show, and it is fantastic with the candle versus the box, but my gosh, that's awesome. Pepper's Ghost, one of the oldest stage illusions done, still done today in Disney World. If you go to the Haunted Mansion, the scene where all the ghosts are dancing around and they're kind of transparent, you can see them in that. So that's Pepper's Ghost. Balsamo Skull, that's just not sticking out to me. Metamorphosis, Houdini's Metamorphosis. Not sure why this is in this section. It should be more in the escape section, but Metamorphosis is a beautiful trick that you saw us do a little bit earlier on there. So older footage, but nice. Here we go, some actual escapes. Water torture escape, prison break, zigzag lady. This is a classic stage illusion that people were able to buy cheaply. Citizen's Revenge, great illusion still used today. Iron Maiden, I'm pretty sure Lance Burton or Jeff McBride, one of those guys, made that really popular. Buried Alive, same with that. Walled is more like a Copperfield effect, so good stuff there. Here we go, some enchanted butterflies, rabbit in the top hat, pub in the bottle. There's a version of this called Hospitality that's fantastic that Lance Burton does. Card manipulation, this is what got me started doing magic. Jeff McBride doing card manipulation, so beautiful. This is a picture from Harry Keller as well. Self-decapitation, paper shred, I also do that. It's great. I'm not bragging on me, but I'm saying it's a fantastic one. Mutilation, I guess that's sawing yourself in half. Vanishing elephant. Houdini, fun fact, Houdini did a version of the vanishing elephant, and people didn't want to see him do magic. They wanted to see him do escapes, and so two guys rolled this giant box on the stage. The elephant would get in the box, and then 20 guys would have to roll it off stage, and you couldn't figure out why no one was impressed by that. And so anyway, it also tells you what all the actions do in the different places. So you have your downtown, your market row, your workshop. You have your theater here. The dark alley, now again, this is just for the expansion, but it tells you what all these places do, gives you hints on how to use them. Obviously, these are the bonuses back here for the prophecies. But it gives you hints on when and where to use these different actions. So let's take a look at the board right now to find out what these actions are on the market row. But this is gold right here. Before we go too much further, also these are the different characters. And look at the art, very unique art style. I really like this. So these are the different characters you can play as. Obviously, historically based, some of them. Really, really neat looking stuff. But anyway, you take one of these and it goes on your player board, which these player boards are very nice. You'll know if you're playing on the right side based on this symbol here. So the base game is this symbol, no symbol, and the Dark Alley expansion is that symbol right there. So you'd put it down here, your player board. You take your character and you put it out here. Let's just say you are the Priestess of Mysticism. You would then take the workers that you get. You would obviously get one worker of your player color here. You would get your Magician, which would be the one with the top hat, and then you would get one assistant worker, and you can hire more potentially later. But you also get, I should say you get a number of assistants out here, but you also get your choice of one of the additional employees here. So you've got your things like your manager, which I like, they're front and back too. See, male, female, that's kind of cool. Your manager, your assistants, your engineers, your I think there's one more. Yeah, that's it. Manager, stage assistant, and engineer. And so these will go onto your board as well. So let's just say you take the manager out here. You would put this card here to add to your main board. Well, then you would also get a worker to put here. So you would get a manager. The engineer gives you an additional trick slot up there. So these are your 3 trick slots that you have to start with. The engineer gives you an additional one, as well as you receive an additional trick marker on there when you use it. So nice because it helps you get those points out there. You have 2 multi-component slots, so that's nice because it counts as if more than components on the manager, and then the assistant allows you to have a free apprentice, which is nice. So just know that those are the 3 different types of specialists that you can buy out there. Everyone gets one of these advertisement cards, which are fantastic looking, by the way. These posters look so great. And you'll use this if you want to promote your show, which promoting it first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or whatever, it gives you a certain benefit to promote it. So just know that that's a thing that's available to you that you'll put over there. We'll talk about more of what that does in just a minute. The actual main board here is divided up into a couple different sections. You have your theater over here. You have the market row down here. Over here would be the dark alley, and you would flip the board over to play with the dark alley and get the special things that come with it. The downtown area is up here, and so this is where you get more magic tricks. You would also put the tricks themselves up above this area here. So you would take them by type, and you would just lay them out up here in each section. So these would go here. You would then place the dice out. You would roll them and place them out here on the downtown area. So the 2 white ones go here, 2 black ones go here, and these 2 gray ones unfortunately are on X's right there. These are the actions that are available downtown here. Now you can use some of your power to flip some of the dice, to change some of the dice. This is flip it to its face, this is re-roll it. So for 1 energy, you could just re-roll it. There we go. For 2, you can place it on whatever face you want. So what this means is you can hire, you would be able to purchase one of these magic trick plans, or not purchase necessarily, but use your energy to take one of these magic trick plans of these 2 types. So if they're not your specialist type, if they're your specialist type, then it doesn't matter, you can always take yours, but these are the ones you could take otherwise. This will allow you to gain money. So depending on which one you take, this is $4, this is $3. Now obviously you have to have money to pay your employees at the end of the round. So that's the majority of the actions up here. We'll talk about the actual actions themselves, how you do them in just a few minutes, but I want to just show you the board first. Down here you would seed the board with different materials for the market row. So in the market row here you actually have things like these level 1 and level 2 materials out here. Let's just call it these for now. However, you would also have some materials sitting over to the side here that might be a little bit better, better materials and such. And what you can do is you can order these materials. Now when you order them with this action here, you will then send it on the next turn over to here, and this will replace this one for that turn. So then you can now buy a level 3 hood or whatever that is instead of this. Now this would no longer be available. You can also spend energy to reduce the cost by one of these actions here. So the cost is the amount of material it is. So this is a level 1, it costs $1. Level 2 is 2, level 3 is a 3. If you go here and want to do a quick order, which means you just quickly instantly take one, put it here, and it's now available to buy, it also costs you an additional $1. These are done by these action spaces down here. And again, the way you do that is you would take your disc, whether it be your magician, your apprentice, whoever, and you would put it here. And based on the amount of points they have, that's how much you would get. So the magician, you see, has 3 action points on his token there. So if you put the magician here, it counts as you getting 5 action points to spend out here. So 5 obviously gets you a great deal better. The other action, again, I mentioned these actions here. This would be purchase for an energy point. This would be drop the cost for an energy point. This would be the quick order, where you spend 2 energy to quickly put one here that is now available to buy. You then would go here if you wanted to. There you do this action if you want to do the slow order, which is one I talked about, where it's ready next round. Now the way it works is when you put your token out there, you spend all of your action points at once. But the good thing is you're not really taking these from other people. These are kind of what's just available to buy. So you wouldn't buy this from here and empty it out. That's what's available to purchase, and you can buy as many of those as you want given the amount of money and points for action that you have. So I know that's a little bit confusing, but just know that's one of the things that's important to the game. Also, you can spend any of these shards that you have to increase your energy level by 1 on here and here, but not. You'll then place your theater cards right up there at the top. These are what's available to perform in right now. But I should mention, the way tricks work is this. So when you purchase a trick, you purchase the ability to perform the trick. You have to have what it requires. So this requires a rope, 3 pieces of glass, and 2 pieces of oil. You have to have that in your item slot. So when you do that, you'll get your tokens in your color, which let's just say you're playing again as red. You'll notice that there's these spades, hearts, clubs, and diamond symbols. You'll take one of those, you'll put it on this trick to mark which symbol it is. Then you'll take one of your other symbols, and however many instances of this trick you get, you'll then put it on your card. So let's just say this is a 2, obviously, which it is. You'll set 2 of the spades right here on the card to use as trick instances when you perform it. So when you perform it, you'll take one of the spades off, and let's just say you're performing at that Riverside Theater. Well, then you would take this, and you would put your symbol, which one you're performing, into your, well, you would try to, obviously, try to link it into this area. Now, when the ones that are linked, obviously, you have to put it in the one that's linked. You want to put your symbol for the one you're performing. So this trick is, in fact, this symbol. So you would put that symbol into that link. Now if it was linked here, you would get the bonus when this was completed. You would get the bonus for getting that Trickerion shard. When you perform this at the end of the actual performance phase, you'll get a fame and money. So it's just interesting. This is the way you score points, by having the most tricks. But the problem is you need to diversify your tricks. You can't perform the same trick twice on the same theater. So it's basically a play bill is what you're doing for each one. So you couldn't perform the same trick twice. So you would need to put this trick out here, maybe put a different trick on the other theaters to where you're diversified throughout the time. You then show over here at the theater what night you're going to perform. The way this works is on your player board, I should mention this, on your player board, these are the permanent location cards. So let's just say you were going to assign 3 workers this round. Let's get rid of the workshop for now. Let's just say you're going to, let's say you're going to assign 4 workers, as you have space for 4. So you would put your magician, he wants to go here to the workshop and do work. The apprentice 1 wants to go to Market Row. This one wants to go downtown, and this one wants to go to the theater. Now, it's not necessarily the best move because the theater is usually takes a lot of energy to do, and you have to go there with your performer to be able to perform. But anyway, alas, this shows the other player where you're going to go, even though it then follows turn order, and you would perform 1, then 1, then 1, then 1, then 1, right? So just know that this is showing kind of where you're going, and that's the interesting thing about it. So you kind of have to commit to it before the turn begins. Now, there are things that will help you to modify that potentially, some of the things here, but just know that these kind of lock you into place where you're going to perform. So when you do go to the theater, you'll notice there's several different action slots out there. Action slots for performance, action slots for setting up tricks, action slots for rehearsal even. And the way it works is the earlier you go, the better the benefits are. So if you go earlier, you get +1 energy when you add someone there. If you go earlier though, the downside of that is you get less money and less fame for your tricks. If you go later, you get less energy to do it with, but you gain an extra star and an extra money when you do it. So during the performance phase, you'll pick one of the theaters out there to perform. All the tricks from that theater will perform. Now, everyone gains the yield. So if you have multiple people on the playbill, they'll all gain their yield. So this would be 2 victory points and $3 just from doing this trick. Everybody gets that for all the instances that are on the Riverside Theater or whatever the different theater is. You then will also get a performer bonus only, so you would then be the only one that could get that link bonus that we mentioned earlier, where if you were the ones to complete these links here with tricks in them, you would be able to get that. You also will get 2 fame for an assistant. This is all listed here. You will get 2 fame for an assistant, 3 coins for a manager, and 1 Trickerion shard for an engineer. So these are different bonuses you get if you go there with different types of people. That's kind of the whole point of that. This area over here is the trick link threshold. Basically, it means that until you get 16 points, you get this when you complete a link. When you have 16 or more, you get this when you get those links. These are also additional points, as well as at the end, you can get more Trickerion shards when you complete a link. So it's just interesting that this shows you what these links become. The further you get, the more points you get. So the other thing you can do is rearrange your tricks that are out there for a different night or a different theater. So just if you wanted to put more on one to kind of double up on things to where you have a manager out there or whatever. The idea is that just kind of, it's positions you better to get those links to where if someone else performs it, well then you could potentially, if you could see that someone else is probably going to perform it, you could then move your trick to somewhere less appealing to them, to where then you could be the one that's probably going to pick that theater to perform. I know that sounds very confusing because it is a little bit confusing, but that's how the performance phase works. You score all of this, you rinse and repeat, you do it again, you do the all the different phases in the game, including the roll the dice. You set your initiative order. That's all based on these cards over here that we mentioned, where you do turn order based on who advertises, how much they spend to advertise, etc. It goes in turn order, so you can choose to do it that way. Then everyone assigns their workers. Then you place your characters, you do the performance, and then you end your turn, pay wages. If you can't pay someone, you lose 2 victory points. Notice that. You then return your characters, orders arrive, so that's when those orders will move over there. Move the performance cards, so this will all shift over and new theaters will come out there. And then you move the turn counter. So just know that that's kind of what happens in the game itself. One thing I forgot to mention is on your own player board, there are a few actions you can take for 0 extra points. 0 points here. They don't cost you anything extra to go here. You can prepare a trick, and the trick cost to prepare it is what's listed on here. So it actually would be 1 energy to prepare 2 instances of the levitation. So just know that that's the cost for this is there. So you can also use Trickerion charts here, but you go to the workshop to prepare tricks, and the more tricks you prepare, obviously the more you can perform, which means the more you can score. And that is how you play Trickerion. I know it's a lot to it. It's a little bit wonky when it comes to scoring some of these things, but once you get the hang of it, once you get the ideas down, it really starts to flow and it starts to make sense, and you can really build those combos out there based on those links, etc. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure we're pronouncing it right? It's Trickerion, right? I mean, I'm pretty, how else would you say it, right? Anyway, really neat concept, right? The idea of taking a worker placement game, essentially, with some dice and some different mechanics behind it, and putting it onto a game about stage magicians. It really fits quite well. And it's weird because you would have thought, had you seen this game, you would think, well, the Prestige, this missed it by 10 years, yet somehow it came out in a time warp through some sort of Tesla invention. But no, this game is not that old, yet it really fits the art style and everything that people loved about the Prestige and the Illusionists in general, that Victorian vaudeville, but also with a little twist of steampunk and sci-fi and all sort of things as that. So the theming of this game is fantastic. From the art, the board is magnificent. Looking at that Victorian style map and then seeing the Grand Theater. I've got books all around by guys named Jim Steinmeier and mostly Jim Steinmeier about just the history and art of magicians and magic, and seeing this on the game board is really exciting. Then you go and see all the cards, and what I love is that the names of the tricks are real historical names. Now there are a few that weren't mentioned that I really would have liked to have seen in there, a la David Devant's Mascot Moth. Fantastic illusion. Look up Doug Henning's Merlin preview and you'll see it's just a little glimmer where someone vanishes on stage completely, totally, just it's gorgeous, right? Or the Azra levitation. I can't remember if the Azra is in here or not, but it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Someone levitates in the air with a curtain on them. You then walk up and you pull the curtain off and they vanish. It's gorgeous. The cultist chair, linking rings are classic. Snowstorm in China. All these wonderful different effects made it into Trickerion as opposed to Trick A, Trick B. So really, really well done. I'm excited for this. So I'd like to know who did the research for that, because I'm really excited about just seeing all those sort of things that really speak to me as a magician and illusionist, especially one who loves the history of the art in the game. Really well done. Top notch on theming, top notch on art in this game. Some of the mechanics. Now let's talk about some areas that could potentially be improved, and I don't know if the expansions coming will improve this or not, but the one thing that's it's clunky in the sense that it is intuitive once you get it, but man, it is hard to get the whole putting tricks on your card to perform and then getting the chains and getting the points where they cross over, and it counts now but it doesn't count like how scoring is a little bit of an issue for us, because it just takes a good bit to teach other people. So here's how it works. Here's what you're going to do when you score. Here's how you actually get points when you perform the trick. Well, you can put it on this trick now, but you'll score more points if you put your spade on this one, and blah blah blah. Getting those little links that have the circles on them and getting the bonuses that you get from the links is tough to get, but once you get it, you can kind of work through it. So again, a little bit clunky on that. The worker placement aspects, though, I feel like they're pretty neat. I like the idea of hiring more assistants, or more, oh gosh, I totally lost the word, but we can get your manager, your ingenieur, your assistant. All these different things are really cool because they do very thematic things when it comes to the game. So one of them helps you have a better time slot. One of them gets you more material, all these different things that really make sense for the game. I do like the fact you don't spend your materials when you get them. This was an issue Tom had to come back and correct, actually, because they had played it that way at first. And I'm glad he did that, because if you had to do it where you spent the materials, it would be impossible. But I like the idea you don't spend the materials, you just have access to them when getting the tricks. So really fun mechanics there. I like the way this game plays, as you saw how it plays. I like the way it plays. I like the worker placement aspects of it. I love the art. Love the theme. So it is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit dense. It's a little bit hard to get into at first, but once you've played it, once you just experience this, if you're any sort of fan of magic, magicians, illusionists, Thurston, Carter, Alexander, any of these people, then make sure to check out Trickerion. It is so cool the way it's well thought out. So I love this game. I love what it is, love what it represents for just all that sort of stuff. So really fun, even if you don't like any of this stuff, but really exciting. And the expansion, of course, obviously, the expansion that comes in the box adds the fact that you get your own personal player powers. I always love a game that delineates who you play. So you get your own special player powers. You get all these sort of things that change the game a little bit make it a little bit tougher, but also make it a little bit more rewarding in the expansion. So it's in the box there. I'm really glad. I totally forgot about that, but excellent point. It adds a whole new area to go to on the board. So good stuff that they added that module in there. Same kind of thing with Anachrony. These are the same people behind Anachrony. In the game box of Anachrony, you have so many different options that we've only played, I think, 1 or 2 of the modules because we love the game so much, and we go, hey, do you want to learn this module? We're like, yeah, let's wait till next time. And next time eventually will happen. But really love what I'm seeing from Mindclash Games. It's one of my favorite companies just between these 2 games alone. I love what they're doing. I love what Victor, Peter, and David and all those guys are doing. It's fantastic stuff. So I know this has been a long one. I know it's been kind of a rambling one, but the rules are dense. That's why I went through and taught that like that. The theme speaks to me, especially is what I do for a living, so I love it. And then just just getting to talk about great art, great theme, even if you don't like this sort of stuff, really just it is great. It's fun. So make sure to go check out Trickerion. It's a little bit older now, so it's still not impossible to get. You can get your hands on it, but check it out. Have fun with it. Let me know what you think. Let me know who your favorite Magic performance ever was, whether it be live or on TV or something like that. Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear who you've seen live and what your favorite tricks are. So until next time, I'm Brian Drake here on the latest retro on the Dice Tower. If you want to see more from us, go to BrianDrakeShow.com to see more about our illusions and all that sort of stuff, or follow us on Twitter at the latest retro. And until then, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is